That's the cue to bring in Dr. Joe Congini, Sports and Medicine Center at Akron Children's Hospital. Dr. Joe, good morning. What do you have for us today?
You know, people have been asking in the last week or so and about how about a PRP update? We've been talking about this regenerative treatment for 5, 7, 10 years in sports circles. There's no doubt about it. And early on, maybe in the 10 years ago range, was only in the most elite of athletes. But you'll see now that there's a lot of athletes, high school athletes, not always the most elite of athletes, many people using PRP. And I think the results, I really kind of wanted to just get a sense over 5 to 10 years here. Has it been a big help? Has it been a really important addition to our treatment of sports injuries? And I think the answer has to be yes. So I called our specialist, who's so good, Dr. Derek Eddy, today, and kind of reviewed some things last night about some of it. And I think the results have been very, very good. Obviously, for Cavs fans, everybody's wondering about Donovan Mitchell. He's getting closer to getting back to play. His injury wasn't a classic one that we use PRP in, but we're using it in so many circles now. So this regenerative property, I know as a review, people know it uses the natural growth factors that are found in blood cells and that really help heal inflammation and really, it optimizes inflammation. So some degree of inflammation is important for healing, and so we don't want to eliminate all of that. It really kind of optimizes the amount of inflammation in places like really, really good, Ray, in tendons. So always from the early stages, it was used a lot for jumper's knee, the tendon below the knee, patellar tendon, for Achilles tendon in our runners, for rotator cuff tendon in our overhead athletes. So a lot of tendon injuries that just weren't healing, that had so much scar tissue and inflammation, they just weren't healing well. And PRP did a great job. We then started kind of moving over to where we were using it into other areas too. And one of the things it's being used for a lot now, Ray, is it's really being used in osteoarthritis and wear and tear arthritis of knees and ankles and shoulders. And it's actually, in a lot of circles, kind of replacing some of the gel therapy that was such a big part of the treatment about 5 or 7 or 10 years ago. And the results have been very, very good. I mean, one of the things about it is that there's so few side effects. We're using our own body blood products, and so there's very little in the way of allergic reactions or other side effects. So that part is really, really encouraging. But one of the things about it that still is a little bit difficult and frustrating is it's not covered by insurance. Dr. Eddy was telling me yesterday almost no insurances cover it. And so it's up. Treatments are up from $500 to up to $1,000, $1,200 for treatments of PRP. Unfortunately, that's part of it that's frustrating. But for a lot of people that have been down the road of so many things treatment-wise, they don't want to use pain medicines. They don't want to use surgery. PRP has filled a huge void, and I'd say in the first 5 or 10 years, there's way more positive than negative to this regenerative treatment that we've used quite a bit called platelet-rich plasma.
It's interesting, isn't it, Joe, the way we're able to use this technology and try to get these folks back on the court, back on the playing field. It's really changed the landscape of that in the last, 5 to 10 years?
It really has changed the landscape. That's a really good way to put it, Ray. And the other thing it's done, it's opened new doors to look for other regenerative treatments that we could use using our own body. Again, that's kind of the safety factor to it that's so beautiful. But there's a lot of other newer things that are coming out on the market, too, that we're looking at. And so it's kind of opened the doors to a brand new world of how we can treat some of these injuries that we just didn't know before. We just said, hey, you got to just play through this stuff, or you got to go to surgery because we have no other options. They're now our options in these regenerative options. But I'm particularly encouraged through the last 5 years, 10 years of my career about platelet-rich plasma.
All right, Joe. Thanks, as always, for the education in the world of injury recovery. Always appreciate it with sports medicine, and we'll hook back up next week, my friend.
That sounds great. Thanks, Ray. Have a great night.
You too. Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital.